then, of course, you have to move on. And I think at this particular time, until we find a model that really works, for our conference, then, of course, plus it allows us to put all of our chips into the Celebration Bowl. And but it's a situation that, we want to make sure that we have that all parties involved and that we're doing what's best for the league. So it's bittersweet, but at the end of the day, it does create a situation where the Celebration Bowl becomes what it should be, which is the mega game of all games.
Absolutely. Now, looking at this Alcorn State team, there's they've been dominant in the SWAC East the last 4 seasons. Coach Fred McNair has this team back in the SWAC football championship. So when you look at this Braves team, what concerns you the most headed into this matchup?
Well, they're a very dominant football team. They can run the football extremely well. They have athletic quarterbacks that can throw and run. They have playmakers on the outside, which make you play honestly when it comes to stopping the run. But then also on the other side of the ball, they do an exceptional job of playing really good defense. So you're talking about a really, really exceptional football team that play well. So we're going to have to play our best football game, and we're going to have to play flawless in order to be effective.
This is the HBCU Report. Rob Calloway wrapping up with Coach Broderick Fobbs. He is the head football coach of the 10-1 Grambling State University Tigers. They are in action this afternoon, 3:30 kickoff, SWAC Football Championship from NRG Stadium in Houston, Texas. Coach, this is my final thing for you, man, and I just need to get your thoughts on this because, it's not just in the HBCU ranks, but, it's really the pulse of college football today. But I've been doing this show for like the past, I think this is my 6th year doing the show. But I don't really remember a season where there was so much turnover. Like, I think right now it's like 7 HBCU vacancies, head coaching vacancies. And a lot of these schools are in what people are calling a win now mode. What are your thoughts on the win now mode versus actually trying to develop something?
Well, I think, what you're seeing is you're seeing a win now, less patient role now from all parties, but I think that's society in general. Everything is quick fix. I need it now, I want it now, and have to have it now. So when you have that, everything is reflected. I don't have to move a muscle to call someone on a phone right now. Instead of having to go to a payphone, I can pick up my phone and dial it. If I want to surf the internet, I can do that within 5 seconds. So everything in the world now has become a right now type of situation, which it just reflects, what life has truly become. But it's just one of those situations. It is what it is. It's part of the game. But I'm of the belief, that, it takes championship organizations in order to have championship teams. So with a lot of turnover, there also needs to be some blame as well, because you have to give, these coaches and these organizations what they need in order to be effective and be successful and put that product out there. And only when you've done that are you able to make those type of decisions on renewing contracts or not renewing contracts. So sometimes I do believe that there are coaches that are being let go and they're not being given, all of the necessary things that they need. But then you do have those situations where these coaches are getting what they need and the job's just not being done. So as long as the coach is getting what he needs in order to be effective, then I understand, because we're in a microwave society at this time.
Very good. He is Broderick Fobbs, head football coach of the Grambling State University Tigers. Once again, the Grambling State Tigers will be appearing in the final SWAC football championship game to be played this afternoon, 3:30 Central kickoff versus the Alcorn State Braves. Coach Fobbs, thank you so much for joining us on the show, and we wish you nothing but the best of luck in today's matchup.
Thank you so much.
The HBCU experience lives here. The HBCU Report with Rob Calloway. We'll be right back.
I heard on the news about that 5-year-old who found his uncle's gun. The kid didn't know it was loaded.
I heard on the news about that 14-year-old girl who was bullied online for like a year. She couldn't take it anymore, so she got her dad's gun from his nightstand.
I heard on the news about that guy who broke into someone's house, stole a gun from the hall closet.
He accidentally shot his cousin in the head.
She killed herself.
And later, killed the owner of the store he was trying to rob.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
From Clark Atlanta to Morehouse to Spelman, it's the HBCU Report with Rob Calloway.
This is the HBCU Report being heard via the Two Live Stews Radio Network at twolivestewsradio.com. Rob Calloway here with you another Saturday morning. Thank you guys for tuning in as we switch gears. We just got through talking with Coach Broderick Fobbs of Grambling State University. And so right now we're being joined on the line by none other than the head coach of the Alcorn State Braves, talking about Fred McNair. First of all, Coach, welcome back to the show.
Man, it's always good to be back, man, especially this time of the year.
Absolutely, man. Now, after, holding off several SWAC East teams this season, the Braves find themselves right back in the SWAC football championship. So I have a two-part question for you in regards to that. What are your thoughts on the run that the program has been able to sustain, first under Coach Hobson, now under your leadership?
Well, I guess the biggest thing is, you look at it and you kind of figure into where this program is going and win these East Division championships. I think that, do a lot to go with the coaching staff that we brought in and the coaching staff that's here now and the things that's been considered as one of the elite teams in the East and just preparing ourselves in game time situation stuff, man. It's been big for us and, just getting these kids getting ready to play every week. That's the biggest thing.
Absolutely. Now, what are your thoughts on this being the end of the SWAC football championship?
Well, that's not major my concern. The biggest thing is that we're here for it and just trying to get these guys to get ready to play for this last one, man. That's the biggest thing and be a part of history, I guess you could say, playing in the last SWAC championship game,
Absolutely. This is the HBCU Report. Rob Calloway on the line with Fred McNair. He is the head football coach of the Alcorn State University Braves. The Braves taking on the Grambling State University Tigers. It is the SWAC football championship, the final one to be played at NRG Stadium, 3:30 Central kickoff. Now, every season brings new issues. What are your thoughts on this season, and what surprised you the most?
Well, I guess the biggest thing, they had a good season. I thought that we played phenomenal ball. We lost to an FBC school and the biggest thing is FBS school. I'm sorry, and the biggest thing is the way these kids just really show character and just fought hard all year. Going through injuries and all this kind of stuff and getting ourselves prepared and it's just staying healthy. I think was the biggest thing that really just stands out. If you look at it from a coaching standpoint, and the way these kids just perform every Saturday, it's unbelievable. These kids go through a lot of stuff during the course of the year, academic stuff and, just family stuff and just dealing with a whole lot of things, man. And just to overcome that thing and just being able to compete for another SWAC championship, that says a lot about this program.
Absolutely. Now, on the offensive side of the ball, DeLance Turner is the heartbeat of the team. And after rushing for over 1,200 yards this season, talk to us about his work ethic and also his leadership.
And I tell you what, he's an unbelievable guy, man. And DeLance is just a humble guy. He's going to lead by example. He's going to lead you by words and just try to do all the right things. That's the biggest thing that comes from him. And his work ethic is so unbelievable in practice, and it shows off in the game the way he practices. So, DeLance kind of stands out and speaks for himself, man. So he's done a phenomenal job on this program running football.
Now, having seen them earlier this season, what concerns you the most when facing this Grambling squad for the second time this season?
Well, Grambling going to be Grambling. They're a good program. Coach Bob done a good job with that program down there in Grambling, man. So, the biggest thing is that they tough, they physical. So on both sides of the ball, they capitalize on turnovers, and those are the things that we look for in that team. So we just got to come out and just play hard and expect those things to happen this week. So that's the biggest thing you're going to get out of Grambling. They're going to play physical. They're going to be a very solid team.
And wrapping up with Coach Fred McNair, this is the HBCU report being heard via 2LifeStewsRadio.com. Alcorn State taking on Grambling State today, 3:30 Central kickoff. It is the SWAC Football Championship from NRG Stadium in Houston, Texas. Now, there's been a lot of turnover in the conference as several of the coaches that you faced on a yearly basis have been relieved of their duties. Now, I asked Coach Fobbs the same question I'm going to ask you. Are you surprised that there's so many schools right now, especially HBCU schools, that consider themselves to be in a win-now mode?
Well, it is. I mean, I hate to see coaches lose their jobs and things like that because they do have families and to feed and to support, But, I hate to see that and I hope those guys, end up somewhere coaching again because they are good coaches. And, I don't think that, as far as you being a coach don't really say much about the way you ran the program and things like that because they are good coaches. They was good coaches. And, but, I think everybody just wanting to win now instead of just looking at the program and say it's going to take some time to build this thing back up. So just from that standpoint, it kind of hesitant to say things about that, but, I just hate they lost the job.
Absolutely. This is the HBCU report, and he is Fred McNair, head football coach of the Alcorn State Braves, taking on the Grambling State University Tigers. 3:30 Central kickoff, SWAC Football Championship, NRG Stadium, Houston, Texas. Coach, thank you so much for joining us, and we wish you guys nothing but the best of luck in today's matchup.
Thank you, Rob. Appreciate it, man.
All right, thank you. Have a good one, man.
The HBCU experience lives here. The HBCU Report with Rob Calloway. We'll be right back.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Connecting the SWAC, the MEAC, SIAC, and the CIAA. The HBCU experience lives here. It's the HBCU Report with Rob Calloway.
This is the HBCU report being heard via 2LifeStewsRadio.com. Man, shouts out to the Coach Fobbs and also Coach McNair, man. I hope that game today turns out to be a great one. Not sure who I really want to win that thing, but, because the God honest truth is, here's my thing. The God honest truth is that both of these teams, man, they're going to have to face an undefeated North Carolina A&T Aggies team. That's the God honest truth. That's the thing is that because Alcorn only has a 7-4 record, which is not really a reflection of the team. I mean, because they've had some hard-fought losses. But for Grambling, who is 10-1 on the season, their only loss came to a FBS opponent, so I'm not going to take anything away from them. But man, A&T, the only advantage Grambling might have is the fact that A&T has had a little time off. That's going to be the only advantage that, if it ends up being Grambling and A&T. Now, Alcorn, man, I don't know. If Alcorn wins this thing, I don't really know how they do up against North Carolina A&T. But we'll talk more about the matchups and all that stuff coming up next week, because we'll definitely know after today's game. So there's, it's going to be a good game today. I promise you, it's going to be a good one. I don't even have to hope or pray. I know it's going to be a good one. But the Black College Football Hall of Fame Player of the Year finalists were announced yesterday, actually. And a couple guys that you might know, Trent Cannon, the running back from Virginia State University. This dude, a